Welcome back to another installment in Life in the Time of Rona, these slice of life documentaries that I've committed myself to doing just because I'm bored and losing my mind. And because I want to keep the world entertained. So anyway, yes, welcome back. I'm sorry it's been a while since the last installment of Life in the Time of Rona. It's amazing how much crazy stuff can happen to you while you are under quarantine and not really going out much. You would think nothing exciting or interesting could happen, but I'm living proof that that's not true. So some of you might recall previously on Life in the Time of Rona, I mentioned a tooth problem that I was having, and as it turns out, I have a gum infection. Not only do I have a gum infection, I also have an ear infection. Like, how the fuck does that happen during a pandemic? But the other day, almost a week ago, I was in a lot of pain. It was pretty clear that something was wrong. And of course, I went into a panic, as a lot of us tend to do. You know, I think that this pandemic is bringing out the hypochondriac in a lot of us. You know, you suddenly have a runny nose and you're convinced either you've got the Rona or brain cancer or something. My leg was itching last week, and I was convinced I'd been bitten by a spider and that it was infected, and I was going to have my leg amputated, and possibly my testicles amputated, and all because I had an itchy leg. It turns out I just had some ashy skin, but sometimes the imagination runs wild. So anyway, the point is that I do have a infection in my gums and an infection in my ear, and that shit hurts. And I should add, I don't have any fucking dental insurance. But I was worried I might have an abscess tooth or something, and that shit can kill you. So I went, and dude dug around in my mouth. He took some x-rays and was like, well, Mr. Walker, you don't have an abscess tooth or anything like that, but you do have a significant infection in your gums, and we're going to clean it out. So it turns out cleaning out an infection in your gums involves taking a fucking sharp-ass piece of metal and jamming it in your mouth and digging around and not giving a motherfucker any Novocaine. And, so that shit hurt. And they gave me some prescription mouthwash. And I don't know if I mentioned, I don't have any dental insurance. So for that privilege of having some motherfucker dig around in my mouth with a piece of metal and making my infected, painful gums even more painful and bleeding all over the place, I had to pay $300 for that. But we can't really put a price on our well-being. Let me tell you about the coffee situation. I was going to call it the coffee incident, but it's not an incident so much as it's a situation, and I think it bears some explanation. I don't own a coffee maker. A lot of people do. I'm not one of them. I have depression issues. I lead a very sedentary life. I work from home. I could go days without leaving the house if I wanted to, and that's just in general, but then you throw in the depression, which can really fuck you up. So a few years ago, I started going for walks every day and getting a cup of coffee every day. The two became interconnected. It was right around the time I started drinking more coffee. My depression was kicking in, so I was trying to get out and exercise more. And so the two sort of went hand in hand. I would get up, go for a walk first thing in the morning, and I'd walk to get a cup of coffee. It became part of a routine. It became not only an excuse to get out, an excuse to exercise. I guess you could call it almost a form of therapy. But now the Rona's fucked with all that shit. So one of the things I should mention, I guess, as I'm talking about this coffee thing and this routine that I have of going for a walk every morning and then getting a cup of coffee, using both as an excuse to get out and do some exercise, is that I don't drink particularly good coffee. It's not like I'm getting some gourmet shit. I'm not even getting shit from Starbucks. I'm just getting regular convenience store coffee. Behind me is a Plaid Pantry convenience store. They're all over. And I live within walking distance of about 3 of these places. Almost as many Plaid Pantries as there are dispensaries, by the way. But I live about a mile from about 3 or so Plaid Pantries. I have 3 regular Plaid Pantries that I walk to every morning. Well, one of 3 I'll walk to in the morning to get a cup of coffee. But I've stopped doing that. And so it's, the Rona has disrupted my routine. So I just wanted to walk by and, as part of this, and show you part of how my life has been disrupted by all of this, as all of our lives have been disrupted. But the one thing that's interesting is that I'm still going for walks because I'm fat and lazy, and I still lead a sedentary life, and I don't want to get more fat and lazy. Okay. I had to go to the store on another top secret mission directly related to this episode of Life in the Time of Rona, and I ran into some people that I know, and it's good just to see people that you know and care about out in the real world completely freaking out just like I am, and they've agreed to be in this episode real quick. So at the store I ran into Dan and Chantelle. They're local celebrities here in Portland. You want to say something to the folks?
What do you have to say? We bought all the beer.
Yeah.
Okay.
The toilet paper was gone, so I bought all the beer. We're staying safe.
Okay.
I got my gloves on. Make sure you take care of your teeth.
Yes, why? Why do you? Because I've got a gum infection, so
Yes. I
explain.
just read I Am Legend, which we're all living now. That was made into a Mega Man, as we all know. And it's a big part of that book that he knows that he has to be his own dentist and take care of his teeth. So remember that during the apocalypse. Take care of your teeth.
Dan works. He is the Hollywood Theater, which is an institution here in Portland. They're closed right now. What do you want to say to all the fans awaiting the return of Kung Fu Theater?
Stay home.
Yeah.
There's plenty of Shaw Brothers movies on Netflix, which I would never normally promote Netflix ever. I've been doing some videos on Hollywood's Facebook page of stuff to watch at home.
Okay.
That's Columbo. That's what I've been doing. Watch the first 7 seasons of Columbo. It's the best home cinema out there.
Really?
How about that? Yeah.
Okay.
It's the best of the best. Best of the best.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has
Yeah.
great directors.
Yeah, you got Larry Cohen writing episodes.
Cohen's writing episodes.
You got episodes directed by Jonathan Demme and Spielberg.
Cassavetes.
And John Cassavetes.
Horace Segal, who
Wow.
also directed Omega Man, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for agreeing to be.
didn't say much,
Yeah.
but,
No, that's okay. I'm not going to have you guys sign a release form or anything. Is that okay?
That's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys later.
Okay,
Yeah.
bye.
I'm a little concerned about this video, aside from the fact that it's probably going to run long. I'm worried it's going to be a little disjointed. There's sort of an improvisational feel to it, like that fucking dog yipping in the background. There's sort of an improvisational, organic feel to these documentaries. It's because I'm just making this shit up as I go along, and I guess the point that I'm trying to get at here is that my life has been disrupted, your life has been disrupted, everyone's life has been disrupted in some capacity, but at the same time life goes on, and we have to learn to adjust and adapt. And for me, who sometimes becomes shut in and uses getting really shitty coffee as an excuse to go for a walk, but doesn't want to get that shitty coffee anymore because there's some sketchy people at the motherfucking convenience store and I'm worried they have the Rona. I could easily just not go for walks. But I'm not going to let this shit disrupt my life that much. And so there's some things that you just have to keep on keeping on, as the saying goes. It's a great song, by the way, by Nolan Porter. Maybe I'll post a link. Dan mentioned Richard Matheson's book, I Am Legend, which is funny because I was thinking about that with this gum infection. And I read that book when I was a kid for the first time. And there's this whole part where Robert Neville's got some fucked up teeth or something, and he's freaked out because he's the last man on Earth, and there's no more dentists. And I think about that all the time. I've always thought about, like, you know, well, I've always thought about what if there was some sort of horrific world event, some sort of apocalypse or zombie apocalypse, and my teeth got fucked up. Like, honest to God truth, I'm not bullshitting. You notice I've stopped walking as I say this part. That's honestly, that's one of my biggest fears, is have some fucked up teeth issues during like some crazy pandemic thing. And the thing is, I've got some fucked up mouth issues. I've got a gum infection. There's a pandemic. I am literally right now facing one of my greatest fears. And you know what? Yeah, it ain't that fucking bad. But let me state this, even though it's not that fucking bad, it really fucking hurts. Like, really fucking hurts. But the point is that one of my greatest fears actually has come true, and it's not nearly as bad as I thought it would be. And I thought it was going to be bad, but it's not that bad. And so a lot of us are overthinking things and thinking about the worst that could possibly happen. And what I'm trying to tell you all is that sometimes your greatest fear, sometimes the thing that you think is the worst thing that can possibly happen, happens, and it's not as bad. So I don't really know if there's a theme to this particular episode of Life in the Time of Rona, or maybe there's multiple themes. I'm not really sure, but if there is a theme, it would have to be how we adapt to adversity in times of difficulty. I'm not able to walk to the convenience store and get my coffee anymore. I could still walk to the convenience store. I suppose I could get coffee there, but it just doesn't seem like the best choice. I'm also trying to get across, we have to face our biggest fears. And, yeah, I'm facing them, man. I'm facing them. Before I wrap up this installment in Life at the Time of Rona, I just want to say the first episode that I did, I talked about cashew butter and how I'd run out of cashew butter, and it was very traumatic for me. And in response to that, some really awesome people have sent me, right here, cashew butter. And here we have a new segment in Life in the Time of Rona that I'm adding called Awesome Shit, in which I showcase really awesome shit. And in this case, it is the cashew butter that people have sent me after I posted that first video. So I just want to say thanks to the people who sent me cashew butter. My friends Jason and Christina up in Seattle sent me some cashew butter, and they included a note to say that they sprayed the jars down with Lysol, so I'm not worried about anything. So I appreciate that. And to my friend Jenny's father, Chris, who also got me some cashew butter. I think it was more of his way of thanking me for not dating his daughter. But either way, Jason, Christina, Chris, Jenny, and all the people who've reached out. I actually have some cashew butter coming from Philly, too, so I'm looking forward to that. I just want to say thank all of you. I just want to say thank you to all of you. I appreciate everything that you've done. And to everybody out there, please be well, stay healthy, and keep creative. I'll talk to you soon.